Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going on a micro safari. We're going to explore the surprisingly complex, totally hidden world of insects that are, well, coexisting right in our immediate environment. Often we just swat them away without a second thought, but today, we're looking closer. We're going to uncover the incredible biology, the sprawling miniature cities, and the wild life cycles of creatures that outnumber us literally millions to one.
So here's our agenda for today. We'll start with the anatomy of an insect, then look at the butterfly life cycle, dive into complex insect societies, talk about harmful bugs and diseases, and finish up with some remedies and prevention. All right, part 1, anatomy of an insect, the building blocks of bugs. Now, insects are these incredibly varied little creatures, but they're all defined by having exactly 6 legs. And their mobility, it varies wildly. Some take to the skies with these vibrant, colorful wings. Think butterflies and honeybees hovering around flowers for nectar. Others completely lack wings, preferring to jump, scurry, and hop around on the ground. We're talking fleas, lice, and ants. But regardless of how they get around, they all share some really fascinating common traits. And what's absolutely crucial here is this concept of biological armor. No matter how they move, every single insect is protected by a tough outer shell known as chitin. Instead of having a skeleton on the inside like we do, they actually wear theirs on the outside. It's tough, it's highly protective, and honestly, it's essential for their survival in this giant world of ours. So this armored body is actually structured into 3 very distinct parts. First up is the head. That's equipped with eyes, a mouth, and 2 antennae that they use to literally smell and feel their surroundings. Next is the thorax. That's the middle section, which acts as the main anchor point for their wings and legs. And finally, right below the thorax is the abdomen. That contains all their internal organs, and for some insects like bees, a sting. Moving right along to section 2, the butterfly life cycle, from egg to flight. To really understand how these bugs build those complex bodies, grow, and transform, we have to look at their development, which is truly a biological marvel. You see, while something like a housefly just lays hundreds of eggs at a time that quickly hatch into tiny versions of themselves, butterflies and moths, they go through a much more dramatic, highly specific 4-stage procedure to reach maturity. This highly structured cycle kicks off with eggs, usually carefully laid on the underside of leaves. Now, those hatch into larvae, which you probably know as caterpillars, and they basically operate as highly efficient biological eating machines, perfectly optimized to consume foliage. Next up, they encase themselves in a pupa, or a cocoon. Inside that shell, a miraculous transformation takes place, until finally, step 4, it emerges as a fully formed adult butterfly. It's ready to fly, seek out nectar, and lay eggs to start the whole beautiful process all over again. Okay, let's dive into section 3, complex insect societies, the cities beneath our feet.
So the really interesting thing here isn't just how they grow as individuals, but how some of them live together in these massive, bustling biological cities. We call them social insects. Unlike a solitary beetle just wandering around, social insects don't live alone. They form massive colonies built on a strict, highly coordinated division of labor. It's a level of organization that honestly rivals human cities, and it's driven entirely by instinct.
Take a honeybee hive, for example. The whole operation relies on a very strict hierarchy. You have a single female queen who absolutely runs the show. Then you have the worker bees. These are all females who tirelessly build and protect the hive, while also going out to collect nectar and convert it into honey. And finally, you have the male bees, or drones. Their sole purpose is just to support the overall biological operation of the colony. It's a perfectly balanced system. Ants are just as impressive. I mean, they build giant mounds outdoors that literally act as underground cities for millions of inhabitants. Just like with the bees, there's a queen who lays eggs her entire life, while the female workers do all the heavy lifting and bring in the food. And what's really fantastic about ants is that they're basically nature's ultimate cleanup crew. They actually help keep our environment clean by scavenging dead plants and animals. All right, on to section 4, harmful bugs and diseases, the pests among us. Of course, this micro-safari wouldn't be complete, or really honest, if we didn't acknowledge that some of these creatures are serious pests. They can cause us real, sometimes life-threatening harm. Certain insects are very dangerous disease vectors. Take mosquitoes. When they bite to suck our blood, they inject saliva into the wound. This isn't just annoying, it's exactly how they transmit diseases. Specific types are highly dangerous. For example, the female Anopheles mosquito causes malaria, while the Aedes mosquito is responsible for transmitting dengue and chikungunya.
But hey, the threats definitely go beyond just mosquitoes. We have silent destroyers like termites that quietly chew right through our wooden furniture and structural beams. We have cockroaches, creatures so evolutionarily successful they'll probably outlive us all, seeking out warm spots near our kitchens and spreading allergies and diseases like typhoid. Then you've got houseflies landing on garbage and carrying germs directly to our food. And let's definitely not forget the parasites, bed bugs causing those flat, itchy bumps while we sleep, and lice taking up residence in human hair. Yikes.
Which brings us to Section 5, Remedies and Prevention, Protecting Ourselves.
Now, what's super relevant here is how we can actually take practical, everyday steps to protect ourselves and our homes. If you do have a run-in with a bug, here is some excellent news you can use for instant relief. But the treatments are completely different depending on the culprit. If you get a mosquito bite, grab a bag filled with crushed ice or a cold pack and apply it right to the skin. But if you suffer a bee sting, your best bet is to whip up a thick paste of baking soda and water. That'll effectively relieve the swelling and the itching.
But as we all know, prevention is for sure your best defense. There are some really simple habits you can form. Wear long-sleeve shirts when you're heading out in the evening to block mosquitoes, and fix tight nets to your doors and windows to keep flying bugs outside. To stop termites, just pull your wooden furniture slightly away from the walls. Oh, and perhaps most importantly, never let stagnant water collect in buckets or pots for more than 7 days. Because guess what? That is exactly where mosquitoes breed.
Now, when you need some extra protection and reach for the bug spray, you really should know what you're putting on your body. Chemical-based mosquito repellents often contain an active ingredient called DEET. And while it definitely keeps bugs away, DEET can actually be harmful to humans if it's exposed directly to the skin over extended periods of time. Because of this, natural alternatives like citronella oil and eucalyptus oil are highly effective, much safer choices for you and your family.
And speaking of chemicals, we really need to be incredibly careful with how we use broad garden pesticides. Spraying these chemicals doesn't just kill the bad bugs. Pesticides do not differentiate. They totally wipe out the beneficial, useful insects that our plants and local ecosystems absolutely rely on for growth and pollination. It's like a giant puzzle, and we really have to balance our need for comfort with the needs of nature.
So as we wrap up our explainer today, I want to leave you with this thought to ponder. The next time a bug crosses your path, will you just blindly swat it away? Or will you pause, maybe just for a second, to appreciate the tiny, armored worker building a massive, complex city right beneath your feet? Thanks for joining me on this micro safari today. Keep observing and keep learning.